Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and Devo Bachelor fans, and welcome to The Struggle, a news talk show powered by the mere thought of a long weekend. I'm your host, Tavleen. Tonight, we discuss period blood, blue bloods, and petrol prices so high they'll make your blood boil. Let's start with robo-debt, a word that is very important and impactful topic, but also happens to sound just a little like a title from an old Video Easy weekly rental bin.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
A name as ridiculous as that is easy to joke about, and trust me, we will. But the entire saga of Centrelink and robo-debt is actually pretty messed up. It's been in our headlines for a while, but Centrelink's robot debt collection has come back into the news again recently after it was announced that there would be a class action into its handling. Basically, since 2016, the Department of Human Services, which runs Centrelink, has been sending out automatic robot debt notices telling those on Centrelink that they owe thousands to the government. Except, as it turns out, many of these debts were actually not owed at all. It was effectively finding the most underprivileged and worst of Australians and giving them incorrect information about how much in debt they were. So, did the department stop the robotic accounts? Well, no. Did they at least fix the database issue that made the incorrect statements? Of course not. No, Centrelink did what it does absolutely best. They put the idea on hold. Sure, there were some issues in the system and the numbers which brought up these fake debts, but this isn't just a clerical issue with a few confusing emails. It has become way more serious than that. According to the DHS, more than 2,000 Australians died after receiving a robo-debt, and until now, not a whole lot has been done. A class action is set to rinse all of these issues through the legal system to pinpoint where it all went wrong, and hopefully find a solution, like not letting actual robots mess around with people's lives unchecked by those in power. Because we haven't had enough old white men chipping in yet, we go now to our boomer correspondent Ian Silverspoon, who is, for some reason, keen to dive deeper into this.
Well, hello. You may be wondering why you're getting an extraordinarily wealthy man telling you about what's best for those in the most need. All I can say to that is, well, if there's an issue with privileged men, why do we keep getting elected, eh? Anyway, it's been brought to my attention that quite a few people have been up in arms about this whole robo-debt business, so I thought I'd look into it. To be honest, I'm a bit stumped. You probably can't tell, but I'm getting on in years a bit, and if there's two things I don't understand, it's how to use new technology and poor people. But you know, a lack of knowledge hasn't stopped my opinion before, and it certainly won't now. So let's go through this together, because I'm sure it's not as bad as everyone's saying. So the DHS has been using a big, boring accounting robot to compare what you claimed on your Centrelink forms to the information your employer gave to the tax office. And if there's any discrepancies, they're sending out a lovely little "please pay this before we send our boys around" debt notice. Okay, so the Department of Human Services says that of all of the people that receive robo-debt letters, only 1 in 5 of them were given incorrect details. I mean, just because you mess up something 1 in every 5 times doesn't mean you should stop doing it, right? Just ask my kids. But let's see, there must be a fair bit of tricky number crunching to get these debts owed, right? It can't be easy. Okay, see, yeah, it is tricky. It says here that some of these debts are because someone had a typo on their tax return and the robot just assumes you're lying to the government. That doesn't seem right. That would be insane, right? Okay, you know, so some of these robo-debt notices, or actually all of these robo-debt notices have been routinely overturned whenever they've gone to any sort of tribunal hearing. But, I mean, that's like going to the snicko in the cricket, right? We go up to the third umpire. Centrelink have never appealed any decisions to higher levels that would make their cases public. Ooh, okay. I mean, all right, it's all right, because it's been going on for a few years now, so there can't have been that many notices sent out, right? 500,000? Oh boy, that's a lot. Just give me a second, sorry. Yeah, Scotty, mate. Yeah, it's Silvo. Yeah, Engadine, that's right. Yeah, look, mate, give me a call when you get a chance, yeah? We've got to talk about some robots. A few issues, I have to say. Sorry, back to you, Tavleen. Yeah, mate, I know. I know it's a problem.
Thanks for that, Ian. Moving on now, an Australian-owned company, Libra, has come under fire recently over a new commercial and campaign, #BloodNormal, which received more than 600 complaints to ad standards. Critics argue the commercial, which depicts the reality of a perfectly normal monthly bodily function, is unreasonable. The ad shows an array of typical period scenarios, such as a woman showering with blood running down her leg and a woman removing a pad. Oh, the horror. I have never seen blood before in my life. So this comes as quite a shock. I had no idea it was red. The lengthy list of complaints largely focused upon the unreasonableness of the ad being shown during prime-time television hours. Many critics were concerned about their vulnerable children and teenage sons who were watching the ad. It's a good thing then that their teenage sons will never have to interact with a menstruating female in their entire lives. Clearly, some Australian consumers are not used to seeing commercials with such graphic content on their television screens. Oh, except for this.
Into rubber, get into ultra tune.
This.
It's okay, I can do it.
And this. Libra, however, defended the intention of the campaign to normalize the discussion of periods in society. The tagline of their commercial states, "Contrary to popular belief, women don't bleed blue liquid. They bleed blood. Periods are normal. Showing them should be too." Well said, Libra. But of course, this does raise one issue, and hard-hitting journalist Lisa Wilkinson was quick to point it out.
I just feel really sorry for the Smurfs that get their period that are no longer being identified.
I suppose that's a thing. To give us more insight into this periodic predicament is our influencer, Kat.
Hey guys, thanks for watching my channel. So Libra recently released a series of ads and they used red instead of blue to depict blood on pads. I know, I was shocked. They have a hashtag and everything and people are really getting amongst it. Some people are offended though. Honestly, as an influencer, it doesn't really relate to me because obviously I don't have bodily functions. As soon as I got Instagram, my life just became like Mary Poppins, you know, practically perfect in every way. Anyway, I'm gonna go hit the streets and see if real people are offended by the ads.
Have you seen the new Libra ad?
Yes, I have. Yeah, just saw it.
Yeah? What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was normal.
Yeah?
I think it's like the period is a gift that was given to every woman. We shouldn't be ashamed with that. It's like a life inside of us that should be delivered or should be given to the Mother Earth. So we shouldn't be ashamed about that.
Would you be shocked to see human feces in an ad?
Probably.
Do you think it's the equivalent?
It's pretty natural, I guess. I guess it's more taboo in the sense where it's not. It also doesn't smell good. It's not really pleasant. I mean, neither is blood, but it's sort of a natural thing.
Do you think it helps destigmatize periods to show red instead of dye in the ad?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, when everyone sees the blue dye anyway, they kind of know what it is. They kind of have had some experience or a family member or whatever. So, I mean, I think making it red just makes logical sense, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference.
Red is the color of our blood, and our blood makes us feel that we are alive. So you find blood it's the same color like fire. It's the same color like life. It's the same color. So I think it should be red.
Pretty indifferent, I guess. Yeah.
So there you have it, blood is red. Shock horror. Back to you, Tavleen. Oh shit.
That can't be healthy. Anyway, we are off to a quick break. Great to see you again. Over to the Victorian Parliament now, and it would seem everyone is on a bit of a high. Not because the Greens have managed to legalise any of their favourite herbs yet, but instead thanks to a pay rise. MPs now receive more than $180,000 a year, while headman Dan Andrews pockets a cool $440,000 per annum, which makes him the highest paid state or territory leader in the country. So much for all the hype over Powerball last week. State politics is where it's at. And if we look nationally, while a fall from a prominent role to something a little less prestigious might come with a financial hit, there's also the change in the title to worry about. When Bill Shorten stepped down from his role as opposition leader, he said he would remain in politics. But going around introducing yourself as the opposition government services spokesman doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. And it's certainly not as catchy as some of these phrases.
I have a 3-word slogan too. You, me, pub.
Sweet. VB, please.
Oh, the chemistry. But moving on to climate change now, and there seems to be at least a little bit of progress. As students wagged school again on Friday to try and save the planet, news site The Conversation also took a proactive step by announcing it will no longer publish climate change deniers' views. The move angered Liberal Senator Eric Abetz, who likened the ban to the repressive actions of totalitarian states run by Hitler, Stalin and Mao. Only problem with that idea though, Eric, is to have a dictatorship, you kind of need a functioning planet to operate on first. Speaking of fossil fuels, petrol prices have skyrocketed thanks to increased global oil insecurity. Our fangirl correspondent, Sophia, is here to explain the ins and outs of the situation.
Thanks, Davleen. If you want a surefire way for someone to break up with you, you buy them black and gold. But if you seriously want to grab their attention, start talking about black gold. Oil gets me seriously revved up and hasn't been oh so contentious of late. A drone strike which damaged a Saudi Arabian processing facility, which is responsible for more than 5% of global supply, has led to an increase in oil prices. And because Australia is so reliant upon Middle Eastern oil for domestic petrol, consumers are currently experiencing a hip pocket pain at the bowser. But that isn't the whole story though, because experts have warned that the petrol price hike may not be entirely attributed to the Middle Eastern oil tension, but also to fuel companies who have decided to up the prices just because they can. And by the way, Australia is struggling to meet the recommendations of the International Energy Agency, which calls for member countries to have 90 days of oil in reserve in case of an oil shortage.
According to Energy and Emissions Reduction Minister Angus Taylor, however, Australia is pretty close to the target if you count oil on ships that's destined to arrive here, even though that isn't in the original definition.
But hey, I said I'm an oil enthusiast, and that means that not everything has to be about fuel. So I was perusing through one of my favorite websites, the Olive Oil Times, when I found out that the Spanish olive oil market is absolutely flourishing. I mean, it experienced a 40% increase in olive oil exports to the US in the first half of the year. The boom is largely due to both low oil prices in Spain, as well as the possibility of tariffs being introduced to the product, meaning buyers are stockpiling the liquid gold while it's still affordable. Back to you, Tavleen.
Insightful stuff. Now, let's straighten up a bit, because it's time to talk royals. We know Meghan Markle knows how to rock a suit, so it's only fitting that the Duchess of Sussex has launched her own line of women's workwear, the Smart Set. The clothing range was designed for SmartWorks, a charity that helps unemployed women get back into the workforce. The collection will be available online and in stores, and for every item bought, one is donated to the charity. Despite the initiative's driving force being to empower women to return to the workforce and helping the underprivileged, the sharks still circled. The clothing line was labeled dull and basic. It turns out it doesn't matter what the Duchess does. People will find a way to hate on her. The Duchess has dismissed the criticism, saying her collection isn't meant to be a Cinderella fairy tale, but rather a story of Wonder Woman, ready to take on the world in her metaphorical and literal cape. But don't worry, Meghan, at Right and Chat has your back.
Sad for you that instead of spending your time like the Duchess of Sussex doing good works to advance other people, you choose to spend your time spreading hate. Can we look forward to you launching your better collection for #SmartWorks?
To give us her opinion on the royal collection, let's cross to our millennial correspondent, Emily.
I'm a millennial, get me out of here. Now, there's not many perks to being unemployed. Trust me, I know. I mean, you have to move back in with your parents, there's that awkward gap on your resume, not to mention the fact that you can't pay off any of your loans. But with Meghan Markle's new range of clothing, there looks like there is a silver lining when it comes to being unemployed. You can buy clothes to get a job. But a lot of critics have said that some of her clothes are boring and too plain and not colourful enough and not very eye-catching. And to be honest, I have to agree, when I'm going for a job interview, I don't want to look sleek and smart. I want to look like I would make a great impression. So with my look, I'm actually sending off a message. So a lot of people look through rose-tinted glasses. These are lilac. This shirt here sort of sends a message that I'm here, I'm colourful, you know? And then my earrings tell two different stories, like the gin is here to show I'm fun, I'm frisky, I'm free. And the other one is to show that I can carry many faces, you know? I can be a business person, I can be a fun, casual person, I can be upfront and personal, you know? So that's why I've got that earring here. And I've also got my fanny pack here, you know, just because I'm ready, you know, I'm just grabbing things on the go. It's attached to me, I'm not gonna forget it. So I've kind of got a bit of a look here. So thanks, Meghan, but no thanks. I mean, I know you were like an editor for Vogue for like as a guest or whatever, but I think it's become pretty clear that I know a thing or two about fashion.
A true fashionista you are, Emily. We'll see you on the other side of this break. Welcome back. Snitches. What if instead of getting stitches, they got paid? A private parking company out of the UK has developed an app that encourages users to report illegally parked vehicles. They upload a photo, record the license plates, then if the report leads to a fine, the anonymous user gets £10 of actual real money. But at what cost?
Because more and more drivers are taking their frustrations out on parking enforcement officers. So violent attacks have been dramatically rising over the last few years. Everything from tossing hot coffee in faces to physical assaults.
Parking inspectors have had a reputation as one of the world's most hated professions. But now with the iTicket app, anyone could potentially be responsible for your parking fine. I suppose the only way to adjust to this is simply to redirect your hatred toward the entire population indiscriminately. Some people may be deterred by the prospect of being hated, but that isn't a concern for the struggle's human resource manager. Denise was inspired by the parking snitches and has decided to launch an app of her own.
Thanks, Tavleen. Recently, I found a great app that gives you money for ruining people's day. I was so inspired by the parking snitches that I decided to create my own app to reward people for dobbing in behaviour I don't like. These behaviours could include walking too slow, walking too fast, disrespecting HR, singing, children laughing, using ice cubes that are too small, or doubting someone's dog ownership.
Denise, don't you think this is all a little bit petty?
Petty? Is it all a bit petty? Do you know what? Might be a bit petty. Might be as... Wait, that's it. No, you're right, Patrick. We need to be thinking bigger, much bigger. This is bigger than all of us. You're right. Do you like money? Do you hate murder? Well, if you answered yes to one or more of these questions, I've got the perfect app for you. It's called iLife in Prison. So how does it work? The next time you're walking across a room and you stumble across a murder, don't fret, just log it into the app and you can be rewarded up to £10. Don't believe us? Well, listen to some of our great testimonials. Patrick, just say one line for the camera. No, otherwise you're fired.
I don't want to be a customer.
Patrick, get back.
Get the camera out of my face!
And there you have it. Back to you, Tavleen.
But how do we get rid of her? Like, who do we even complain about her to? Can you imagine another There's been some major news in the world of all ages card games. The official Twitter account for Uno has put out a statement clarifying Draw 2 and Draw 4 cards cannot be stacked on one another. It was actually tweeted almost 4 months ago, but the social media content from card game companies can take a while to get around. Like, who even thinks to follow Uno? Anyway, this has come as a shock to many of us Uno heads, as stacking draw cards is common practice. The struggle has actually managed to obtain exclusive footage from the Uno head office when the tweet was made.
Uno, yellow.
+2.
+2.
+2.
No, this is bullshit. Yeah.
Well, on that note, it's time to stick a fork in the show for another week. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and let us know about any other friendship-breaking Uno rules in the comments below. But until our season finale next week, the struggle, it's real.